And now we are very honored to have here our keynote speaker, Dr. Sherif Kamel, member of Scientific Committee of Eduniversal, Dean, School of Business at American University in Cairo. He's member of Scientific Committee for Africa. He will share his vision on the topic, The Future of Work Reimagined, More Questions, Fewer Answers, and Some Projections. Thank you so much for sharing this information and ideas and a lot of insights. Sherif, welcome.
All right, I'm getting myself prepared here. I hope you can all see me now and hear me well. Merci beaucoup, Cécile. Thank you very much.
Avec plaisir.
I also want to start by thanking my good friends Daniel and Rita. We would have loved to be on campus at Nova, but we're doing all this because of the health and safety of everyone. But I urge everybody attending today to not to miss the opportunity, if you can, to visit the campus. It's a fantastic campus, and I had the privilege last year to visit. I also want to start by thanking Martial, Marie-Jo, Cécile, Luba, and everybody for putting together a different experience in our conference today. We've all been attending conferences online over the past several months, but this 3D experience, maybe it's challenging, but I think don't get surprised, maybe that's the future. And this is exactly what I'm talking to you today in our 13th World Eduniversal World Convention. So again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to our conference this year. First, I would like to wish you all, your family, your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues, to stay well and in good health. These are very unusual times. We usually meet this time of the year with friends to exchange ideas and plans and strategies and challenges and opportunities. But this time, actually meeting differently, and we're talking about a different world. We're talking about the future. This specific session, I'll be talking to you about the future reimagined. And just before we start, I do not have a crystal ball, and I do not have answers to all the questions. In fact, I'll probably leave you with more questions than answers, but I'm just going to highlight a few things that I would love to share with you. But let me first step back for a couple of minutes and see where we are, where we used to be, and possibly imagine where we're heading. So, to start with, we've always talked about disruption. But when we talked about disruption, we talked about information and communication technology, more recently about artificial intelligence, robotics, analytics, digital transformation, obviously the fourth industrial revolution. And then we started talking a few years ago about the future of work, the future of learning, the impact of innovation, competitiveness. And gradually, we've seen the impact happening on manufacturing, agriculture, trade, care, education, on learning, retailing. What did this do? It actually changed the way we work, study, shop, communicate, get entertained. There's so many examples that you all know about this. But the notion I'm alluding to is we didn't start that post-COVID or when COVID hit. We actually started the digital disruption and transformation years ago. All what happened in 2020, it just got accelerated. It went up several notches. So come late 2019, disruption came in a different shape and form. We know it as COVID-19. It was like a perfect storm, self-attack, an invisible enemy. Nobody knew anything about it. And whatever we did was actually, we were doing it as we were sort of getting affected by it on the go. So there were no practices. And we learned from each other. That COVID-19 or that disruption affected everybody. Developing world, no discrimination, affected the lives and livelihoods of people. businesses, communities, organizations, too, but it also affects the lives and livelihood of different societies. Push people to change. Let's just agree on one thing. We all talk about change. Push for change. We promote change. We encourage change. No one wants to change. Nobody wants to change. This time, we had to change because we didn't have a choice in many ways. We were locked down. Many people locked down at home or limited maneuvering or space to maneuver into, and we had to revert to technology. But this happened long time ago. Technology started affecting economies, financial markets, value chains, societies a long time ago. Ironically, in 2019 and 2020, digital transformation came to save the day, in a way. So what will happen next? And here is a series of questions. As I said, I don't have all the answers. What will happen next? Will digital transformation be a game changer? How will it affect societies, individuals, organizations, competitiveness? So people are talking of working from home, working from work. How many of you years ago started working remotely, on weekend, in a garden, in a coffee shop? And that's exactly it. But it got accelerated. So we're not really in new grounds here. We're just accelerating and moving forward with the fact there is no fiction anymore. But let me say one thing. There's nothing, absolutely nothing is being hit with the pandemic. Having said that, there is always a way to look at this as an opportune moment to create different options for the community, for business schools, for society, to try to not just navigate those difficult times, but also develop, grow, and prosper beyond the current pandemic we're going through. So are people adapting to change? Whether they like it or not, they are, across different societies in the world. And the magic word here is acceleration. Let me tell you one thing. My background is actually technology management. And I have to confess, we as technology people, whether managing directors, CIOs, CTOs, whatever you want to call it, we failed big time. Because no matter how we tried over the last 30, 40 years to push for digital transformation, we actually only scratched the surface. COVID-19 came, and in 2-3 weeks, maybe 2 months, changed all that. So COVID-19 wins as opposed to CIOs and CTOs of the world. It helped accelerate the digitalization. And can keep an eye on what's happening, what can happen next. And we can project that technology is here to stay. Whether it's sustainable, whether it's going to be scalable or not, that's a different story. It depends on the infrastructure and on the infrastructure. So one thing we need to keep an eye on is investing in human capital. That's going to be the game changer. But let's agree on one thing. Those who are going to remain in the competition, evolve, grow, and prosper, regardless of the industry, are those who are going to be resilient, agile, and relevant. Legacies are extremely important. But we're dealing with a different time now. And don't get me wrong, people always talk about the new norm, what's going to happen, and so on. I assure you, in our lifetimes, we're not going to fly, that's for sure. But we are going to be doing things different. And I want to take you back 25 years ago. I was in a meeting in Cairo with the then CEO and founder of one of the largest IT corporations in the world, Sun Microsystem. The name is Scott McNeely. So we were in a meeting discussing strategy, organizational development, use of IT, and so on. Even back then, January 1995, he said he stopped the fact that executives travel all the time to meet with their counterparts, and they use teleconferencing. Even back then, it saved the company millions of dollars. That's exactly what we're seeing today. That's exactly what I expect in the future, post-COVID, which hopefully is going to come sooner or later, especially with the announcement yesterday of Pfizer that they might have a solution. Hopefully, this is a good positive signal. But more importantly, that solution should be accessible, affordable by everybody in the world. When we do that, then we can think really beyond COVID-19. So this notion started 25 years ago, looking for how to maximize the use of digitization. So these were early signs. And since then, we started seeing the introduction of technology into our lives. Started at work, and then it became home. And once it became home, then the extended working hours were no limit, depending on the person. So we were actually working from home while in the morning being in the office. We were working on weekends. Prior to having a computer at home, this never happened. Obviously, this got massive acceleration with the age of mobility in the 90s. So we started talking about the inter-network enterprise, because you never leave the office. You're always one call away, or one WhatsApp away, or one message away, or one email away. That's exactly what we're going through today. But again, magic word is acceleration. Will we take it to the next level? We already took it to the next level about 10 years ago. With what? With social media. Look at social media platform. Is it just about posting pictures? About many companies are using it in their work. Even Instagram, people put ads about their work. Even LinkedIn, which is perceived as a sort of a job employment opportunity platform, people use it in their work. Even Twitter, which is more or less seen as a news channel, but again, people use it at work. So the regular communication and everything, for sharing news, for even establishing contacts, for establishing partnerships, definitely, as I said, but surely we move from a point where the society is officially being predominantly based on information pull platform to a continuously interconnected world that was transformed into an infrastructure that is based on information push platform. And it's up to us to pick and choose what works for us. What are we doing today? A 24/7 interconnected environment. I promise you, I live in Cairo, so I'm 7 hours away from the East Coast in the US, 10 hours away from the West Coast, and 6 hours from Asia, and 1 hour as opposed to the central time in Europe. Sometimes I send emails at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't ask me why I do that. But the funny thing, I get a response in 2 minutes. Why are people awake? Why am I awake at that time in the morning? But that's the world we live in today. And then we take another breakthrough, WhatsApp, which is, by the way, becoming the platform of many people as opposed to email. This is exactly how work is being conducted today. Some people are meeting over digital platform, whether via text or visual and audio, and we've had that before. One thing I have to confess, and again, this is like, seems like 3 centuries ago, not 23 years ago, 1997, I have to admit and confess, I almost kicked out one of my staff. You know why? Because he was using ICQ to communicate with his colleagues. I used to listen to him tapping into the keyboard, and I thought he was distracting his colleagues. So ICQ is basically WhatsApp of today, which is becoming a platform to conduct work. That's the future of work as we move forward. Not even that. Even physically, we will not be around. We will be communicating from distance. Eduniversal introduced to us this year's 3D conference with avatars. Well, we might find it odd, but maybe that's how people are going to conduct meetings in the future. I don't have an answer, but I'm just sharing with you how fast the world is changing into, at the end of the day, looking at different modes of communication. Truly ironic that colleague of mine was almost on his way out because he's using ICQ. Today, I can't even think of such an idea. So the disruption started back in the 1990s. Moving into other element of future of work, people talk about social distancing, and I hate to use that term. I have to confess again. We've never been more social than the past 10 months. I rather use the term physical distancing, and we are physically distant from each other. But even I think people, even post-COVID, are going to be reluctant to just go back to normal immediately. The health and safety will be on their minds, regardless if you have a vaccine or not. Even 1 year after vaccine, it's going to take time for people to not to heal, but to go back to the operating models. So some of the things we can look at moving forward is adopting digital transformation, reconfiguring the world model, reconfiguring the value chain of that work model. redesigning the office. Will people be crammed as before? Do we need all that office space? Maybe we need to have co-working space or have shifts so we don't go back to the office all the time. Not because of anything, not just health reasons, but because we've now witnessed the fact that we can operate from home. I can promise you, some of the research are actually telling us that some people are even ready to have pay cuts if they don't go to the office and continue working from home. Well, that might sound odd, but that's exactly what the world is thinking. So reimagining the work environment is definitely amongst the key elements we need to be thinking of. One thing for sure is that it will be more customized, it will be more personalized. And again, we've seen that over the past few years, but it's going to be accelerated more. Surely, across different organizations, people, societies, industry sectors, there is no one size that fits all. There will always be adaptation, and that's again another keyword. So customization is a keyword, acceleration is a keyword, being relevant is a keyword, and adaptation is definitely another keyword. So more questions. How will the future of work look like? Not just in terms of conducting the work, but how the office will look like. Will the office at large be obsolete? I personally don't think so. Not in the next 10, 20 years. So what will be the degree and magnitude of change, depending on the organization, the size of the organization, and the ability of the people to navigate the changes that are taking place, and the ability of people to collaborate, again, from distance. Future of work, if someone asks me, how will it look like? I have one simple answer. Depends what we want to make out of it. How far are we willing to go? How will that affect the functioning of an organization or of a society at large? So the business model is going to vary, and surely tech and tech-enabled startups and creative entrepreneurs will have a lot to say. And again, is this the first time we hear about this? Absolutely not. And I'm not going to repeat the full example that we all know, but look at the examples of Uber, Facebook, Alibaba, and Airbnb. All of them, they don't own material, they don't operate cars, they don't operate hotels, but they're functioning much faster and much bigger than many other conventionally operating organizations. Professional jobs, scaling to definitely affect how organizations operate. The notions of being digitally savvy is definitely goes without saying moving forward. It's not just a requirement, it's actually intrinsic in the capacities of people joining any organization. So are we going to reach a model like in 6 months or 1 year? Absolutely not. This is going to be an evolving, iterative, and flexible model going to saturate over the next few years. I think we're going to end up with a hybrid model, a mix of face-to-face and virtual interaction with no clear boundaries, but more or less flexible, creating an environment that is adapted to the capacity that the organization needs, which will again change from one time to the other. Will everybody be happy? I don't think so. Will everybody be upset? I still don't think so, because it's a new territory, and exploring it as we go. Before I finalize this, I just want to share a few final remarks. Whether we work from home or whether we work from the office, our eye needs to be on the health and safety of everybody, how to be more efficient, how to be more effective. Again, there will be variations between different industries, because you can imagine that some industries will have to be in the office. Some services will have to be conducted face-to-face. But again, as we said, it's not one size that fits all. Will there be some issues that people will be concerned about? Absolutely. Multiple risk and control concerns related to data protection, cybersecurity, privacy. All these issues are key, because data will be crucial in how you develop the model, because how people react to different things differ from one person to the other. On a more funnier or lighter things, and we've seen that happening, and I'm sure all of you went through this, how will the work attire look like? Do you have to wear a tie? Actually, I used to wear a tie every day. I haven't worn a tie since March 11th. What will the business attire look like? Casual, business suit? What? We don't know. Will companies be flexible? I think so. I mean, you can't really force something like this. But at work, some work actually used to force people to be casual or formal. But remotely, I don't think this will sustain. So the spectrum of the change is from the hardcore content all the way to the business attire and anything in between. So the coming month will see the proliferation of innovative products and services to help you work from home. Remotely, communicate remotely as we move forward. I'm sure all of us are sick and tired from Teams and Zoom and GoToMeeting and Google Meet and WebEx and Adobe Connect and Skype and so on and so forth. Get ready. This is going to be part and parcel of your daily routine, amongst other things that are going to come up. And by the way, we know these applications now. Don't be surprised that in a few months, more and better and multitasking applications are going to come into the mix. Keeping an eye on productivity, efficiency, convenience, resilience, and of course, cost. Organization will always look at cost. How can we as business school react to that? How can we look at the way we train and educate our students and learners to be ready when they graduate to meet in that environment will be our challenge. To actually not just navigate those difficult times, but also develop, compete, and evolve post whatever we're going through. Are we going to be replaced by robots? If this is a question, I don't think so. But we need people who are better positioned and skilled to deal with robots, to deal with technology. I want to go back for the third time, just to show you, to emphasize the fact that this did not start today. Back in 1998, and specifically I choose old examples. I was sitting in the Internet Summit in Geneva, and the speaker was one of the founding fathers of the Internet, Vint and Cerf. So actually Vint said, you guys are interested and excited that 2-3 million people are using the Internet. Wait until 50 or more billion machines are going to talk to each other. Next step is going to be the Interplanetary Internet. I remember this very well. I didn't speak to Vint. I was just sitting in the audience. This is back in September. I think September it was 1998. I had the chance to see Vint for the very first time in November 2019, which is just this past year. It was at the Peter Drucker forum in Vienna. And I just went to him and I told him, listen, I was sitting in that room back in 1998 when you said that machines are going to talk to each other and there will be an interplanetary internet. The guy looked at me and said, I was a nutcase speaking blah, blah, blah. I said, didn't think that way, but I was thinking machines talk to each other, interplanetary internet. We're actually seeing part of this now. So nothing is becoming fiction anymore, and we're actually living it every step of the way. I want to close by saying that flexibility, choice, looking at things that are unconventional and untraditional will mark how we navigate those current moments, to be able to redesign how we operate, how we conduct work, how we deliver message for our students, how we can prepare them to compete in the marketplace. This is definitely, it's time for a very vibrant organizational culture that is adaptive, that looks at creating value both at the social level and at the economic level, but that is and creativity. My last comment is as follows. My prediction for the future: business schools and business organizations, societies, developed or developing, big or small, fast responding or not, rich or poor, this is not going to be the element that is going to make organizations or societies or individuals succeed or not. It remains to be about relevancy, agility, competitiveness, but I think the one factor that will mark those who can thrive in the future as opposed to the laggards who are sort of befalling is the degree of adaptation. Keyword is how to adapt, continuously adapt to the changing environment. Let it be at work, let it be at home, let it be in a university, whatever that be. With the changes taking place, how can we adapt to that will be the game changer. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share with you these thoughts. And again, please stay safe and stay healthy. And we really look forward to seeing you all next year, hopefully in person. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing these ideas and insights with us, Sherif. And I recommend you to follow Sherif's blog. We will share with you the link, the Nile View, and he often shares very interesting articles on this blog.